Happy Wednesday, everybody. And if it's Wednesday, you know what it is. It is the horse shit show. No, I'm just kidding. It is the tinfoil hat show. Guys, how are you?
I think we're doing all right. German Dave's alive. He was sick.
Yeah,
He's
man.
here. So he's doing all right.
I'm back. Shady's back again.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
So yeah, international break, but we've still got some stuff. We can talk some international break winners and losers. Misak is here finally.
Alive.
He's here.
He's
live.
alive.
He's alive.
Everyone's
He's not
alive.
asleep. It's like 3-4 in the morning over there. So
Nice.
I'm blessed by his presence. Oh, he's probably breaking. He's doing iftar, right? Because he's probably breaking his fast. That's probably why he's awake. He's sleeping through the day, wake at the night. But
Yeah,
we've
the
got
Ramadan schedule. There you go.
yeah, there it is. I knew it, Habibi. I knew. We'll talk some international team winners and losers. Just because we kind of have to recap. Oh, he's not interesting. But
Is
we're
this
gonna,
just following in with the culture?
I guess so.
Yeah, why not?
But just following up with some of the stuff that we saw during the international break. Rumor has it that Chiesa's still on the bench, ready to play that second game. Something like that. But we'll kind of touch base on that. I have some thoughts on Italy's performance on the international friendlies. I'm not going to talk about Albania because Albania played like absolute dog shit in their two.
Why did you even bring it up?
I
Just
don't.
forget it never existed.
Jeff was. Hey, look, we're linked to Mitaj, who is their left back. He's a 20-year-old left back that plays at Moscow. So when we're talking about our summer wish list, I was going to throw him on there. I saw some things I liked from him, and I saw some things I didn't like from him. But let's kick things off. So I watched Italy and Venezuela, and I watched Italy and Ecuador as well. Big ups to Serie A for making the game really flippin' difficult to watch, because not like I had to sail the high seas or anything. Because hey, let's do some United States calcio awareness. By doing that, you want to know how you can watch it in the United States? By getting the Mexican Fox Sports.
I watched the Brazilian feed. It was pretty cool. I don't know much Portuguese, but I mean, it was all right.
Like that was the only way you could watch it in the United States. You had to get Fox Deportes, where it was Spanish. Not a single English coverage of us expanding the game in the United States for Americans, because we want to reach out to Italian Americans. No, you couldn't watch the game. You had to get it in certain means. But
the second game, I'm just gonna say, we clearly got different feeds. The second game I did get in English. No, it was in Italian. Sorry, it was in Italian. So I half understood what was going on.
I was going to say, I'm like, how the hell did you get that?
No, I didn't get it. It was the Rai. It was the Rai feed. Which, guys, it's honestly very easy with the VPN just to get the Rai app. But anyways, they were stroking off the New York Americans and like how all the Italian Americans were out, and they were probably chanting Christopher Columbus or something at the same time. I have no idea, but it was like it was Paramount Plus in disguise.
It honestly, it wouldn't surprise me at this point. But kind of talking about that briefly. So the Venezuela game, the starting lineup was atrocious. Like the Italian starting lineup was dog shit. Like I can't. Like maybe Retegui was like your shining faith, but like Bonaventura was atrocious. Chiesa, I don't even know if he even played that game. Like he was bad. Like you're just a non-factor whatsoever. Fratesi as well. Cambiaso had a good game, good showing. Buongiorno is absolutely atrocious as a center back. Like I'm sorry.
Hey, but he's worth 60 million.
No. Is he? No.
If Venezuela, and this is what was funny, Venezuela were targeting Buongiorno with long balls in the air because that guy could not track a ball to save his life. Like it was that bad where, in my opinion, if Rondon didn't miss the penalty kick that he got in the second minute, and if Rondon knew how to finish the freaking ball, Venezuela should have been up 3-1. Like the amount of chances that Rondon got by them just sailing the ball over Buongiorno's head was ridiculous. Like I was sitting there, I'm like, you got to be kidding me! Like the first 60 minutes of this game, 30 million. So if you want to put in the Torino inflation, it is 60 million.
Oh, okay, it's a bit.
Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah. The market value is 30, but there are like offers from I heard from Premier League sources.
Tottenham. Tell me it's Tottenham.
Arsenal. It's Arsenal and Manchester United, I believe, that are in a bidding war for him, and the latest offers were around 60 million, from what I heard.
After that, I have like that. That to me, wow, those scouts need to get fired.
Napoli offered 40 million in the January window, and Torino declined that.
Interesting. All right.
Oh my goodness. Well, look, if kudos to whoever buys them for 60 million, because that is totally not worth it. Locatelli, like for example, and Locatelli to me kind of frustrated me that game because he played the same way he played as a Juve. Auxiliary center back, interchanging between Burjuno or Scalvini. Scalvini was taking the ball forward more than Locatelli that first 45, 60 minutes, right? Where it's like, I'm sitting there in my head. I'm like, where's, I'm waiting for these Juventus players to absolutely turn it up because they're absolutely shackled and strained by playing at Juve. And then it's like, you look at them and they're like, oh, they're doing the same exact thing. And then you watch the substitutions happen in the second half where you see Jorginho come in for Locatelli. Jorginho took control of that game. Legitimately took control of that game. I mean,
there's like instant hashtags on Jorginho after that.
Like, yeah, he absolutely took control of that game and was like, all right, cool, I'll get the assist. I'll beat a guy in the box, slot the pass in for Retegui to shoot. There you go. Bada bing, bada boom. Like, and I'm going to give credit to Misak for saying this. Like, Misak's like, Georgie in the summer, man, I'm sick and tired of these square pegs and round holes. And he's right. Because, like, for example, Locatelli isn't the main guy in your midfield. He shouldn't be. And in this game, it kind of showed it. He's not the main guy. Jorginho outplayed him easily. And that's the difference between having that experienced midfielder and not having an experienced midfielder, right? Like, Jorginho controlled that game. He was on both sides of the ball, in the offensive phase in the attacking third, and the defensive phase in the defending third. And with it, Spalletti switched to a 4-3-3 that second half. When he put in actual wingers that know how to invert and do stuff, like Zaccagni and Zaniolo. Am I saying that those two are amazing wingers? No, I'm not saying that, but they both know how to invert and shoot on the inversion. Whereas, like, again, I asked the question, Italy national team Chiesa, what did he do? Nothing. Wasn't a factor of that game. He wasn't a factor of that game where he got benched against Ecuador. He didn't play against Ecuador at all.
Yet.
He might still be waiting.
No. The social media accounts were still blindly just like, Chiesa. People are Allegri's ruining him. It's they're still on the bandwagon. Let's just say and I'm not saying you have to be completely critical. I know we've been a little bit critical of Chiesa for certain reasons, as we have explained. But at the same time, well, yeah, I mean, German Dave's particularly bad with the bias on that. Like, I used to be a huge fan of him, right? So I think I'm coming at it somewhat fairly myself. I don't know, but man, at what point could you just like be objective and say it's like, okay, he has to take some of the fault for his own performance. You can't just always find a scapegoat as to why Chiesa is not doing well.
Well, here's the thing, right? So if we look at Italy versus Ecuador, the new players that didn't play in the last game that played in this game were Bastoni and Darmian, and I think it's Mancini as well. And then you'll have Di Lorenzo, Fratese, Locatelli, Retegui, Orsolini, all of them, and Cambiasso as well. All of them sub in. You want to know who didn't sub in that match? Was Chiesa. Chiesa didn't play. Was there any injury reports? No, he just didn't play. And then you look at, again, you had Zaniolo, you had Pellegrini, you had Jorginho, you had Barella. Bellanova was essentially a new face, as well as DeMarco too. And it's like there's no Chiesa. So like it's kind of telling you, or Spalletti's looking at it, right? Or Spalletti's like, I think I need to stop putting my eggs in this guy's basket. Because Pellegrini comes in, he has a goal, gets a goal this game when he actually plays a full shift. Really damn good goal.
I've always said I like Pellegrini.
I've always been an advocate for him, because people are like, well, yeah, now he's playing better because he's not under. No, Pellegrini, even Mourinho said that guy could ball. Like, it didn't matter. Like, that guy could ball. Like, the difference is, like, for example, in ability between Pellegrini and Locatelli, it's miles of quality difference.
No, the only problem Pellegrini had, in my mind, was always the injuries hampered him a little bit and stood in his way. But on the field, honestly, for me, he's one of the best 10s in European football, even.
He's incredible. I think he is. Like you
his,
said, if he's not healthy,
his
that's the
shots, his accuracy, passing accuracy,
Oh,
the creativity, and how he involves the wings, how he binds the midfield to the attack. For me, he's incredible.
I
just love his shots from so far out the box. Like he did, you know, like that's that.
He's a dual threat midfielder. He's a midfielder that can kill you in on the pass, and he can kill you on with an absolute screamer. Like it's kind of what he does, and that's one of the reasons why I'm a big advocate for Pellegrini. I like him a lot. Yep. He's an awesome midfielder.
He just plays for the wrong team and isn't likely to leave.
So let me say this: like, is it fair for me to say at this point where it's like, is Locatelli Italy's version of McKennie?
Yes.
There's similarities in that.
Like I'm not saying like, for example, like, because obviously I know McKennie's like dribbling, deficiencies and whatnot, and there's like some technical deficiencies there, but like I don't see Locatelli, pizzazzing people on dribbling, or I don't see him like dazzling. Like he's a blue collar midfielder. Like he's essentially an Italian equivalent of McKennie, even though like shout out to McKennie. McKennie absolutely bossed out against Mexico in the Nations League final.
Yep.
Though it was kind of like, just kind of like a layoff for Tyler Adams. His assist a little bit, in my opinion. That's just kind of Tyler Adams saying fuck it, and he just rips one into the top corner. But like, to me, I don't understand. Like, for example, I'm not saying, again, and I don't want people to take me out of context here, I'm not saying that Locatelli sucks or he's dog shit or anything like that. No. It's kind of like what Raph is saying here. Loca is plain Jane. Like, I think he's just a blue collar average midfielder.
What you need. Yep. It's fine. It's just we don't have the other pieces to go along with it.
Yeah, he's not.
I completely agree with that. No, I just want to say I completely agree with that. Like his strongest, like on the strongest he is at is his defensive capabilities. On the ball, he's not a magician. Like last season, we had at least like his long balls, but even those he's not playing them anymore because he's looking for the short, quick pass because he doesn't want to handle the ball. And what is a problem to me though is that he lacks the energy that McKennie brings to the table. Like McKennie always runs towards the touchline, and all his assists and passes into the box are just pure hustle while falling and things like that. And I appreciate that honestly about him, but maybe that is just, I don't know if we put Locatelli in that role, for example, instead of McKennie, if Loca would do the same.
I think if McKennie and Locatelli were our two bench options and we had proper starters, that's where we want to be. And that's not I know it's kind of harsh, but let's be honest. If we want to be back at that, getting to Champions League finals kind of thing, getting trebles, doubles, what have you.
He's your fourth option at that point,
yeah.
Right? When you're built like that, right? He is, in basketball, the sixth man. Like he is the first option off the bench that you need to adjust pace or do something like that. He's not that guy that's your main centerpiece in your midfield. And I think people, and this is where I kind of get frustrated with Sassuolo, and this is why I'm a big guy where I'm like, I never want to buy anything from them again, is because Sassuolo kind of sold you on a bag of tricks and bag of dreams on it, right? And this is one of those things with De Zerbi ball that you have to watch out for, because De Zerbi tells you need to eat at 8 a.m., take a shit at 12 a.m., do this. And it's like you leave and you go to a coach that isn't like that. And it's really kind of more so Goodmanson, that truth. Misak left some notes. I'll read those. He put those in the Discord. We'll cover when we get to Goodmanson here. But when you look at it from that perspective, it's like there's a huge IQ gap for Loka versus, like, for example, when you look at Georgie. Like, for me, Jorginho solves, I want to say, 65 to 70% of Juve's current midfield issue. If Jorginho is on this current team, from what I've seen, solves a majority of the issues that we have. And
sorry, just Vlad. In other news, Dave Spears coming in nicely. Thank you. Yeah, just, gotta give it time.
It's gonna be about like a week or so. So I think that was one of the things, right? For me, I think Jorginho showed why, like, for example, and this is, and I don't know how true it is, right? It was I think you posted it in the Discord, right, Dave, about Jorginho and Arsenal not negotiating anymore. Like, they kind of stalled. They kind of stalled on it. And this, for me, this is on Giuntoli. If Giuntoli does not make a play for Jorginho, that is going to be one of the biggest disappointments for me in this summer. And we haven't even gotten to the summer expectations yet.
Not really. We're kind of beating around that bush pretty hard.
I do want to cover one last player because he did pop up, and I've been watching him a little bit more closely now. He is Albania's starting left back, Mitaj. He plays for Lokomotiv Moscow. He's 20 years old. He's a left back, inverting left back, mind you, as well. He's kind of a poor man's Cambiaso, as I would like to say it. He has the dynamism that Cambiaso has. I think, for example, as an option off the bench as a depth piece, I think he'd be good. I think he still needs some time to really, really get into it. Let me share my screen for you guys to kind of take a peek at him. Who Mario is. Like I said,
shows up when you start talking about the Albanian.
I know that's coincidence.
KB is giving you the yawn. He's calling you boring.
Oh, ouch. But he, the game against Sweden, though, I think Albania's national team needs to perform a little bit better over these past games. But he's a solid player. He's had a solid season for Lokomotiv Moscow. He's almost at a 7 in the Russian Premier League. But again, obviously, it's Russia. Take it for a grain of salt. He's a solid left back option.
He's going to be tough.
He's tough. He's Balkan. He's Balkan by default. I think he's a good depth option if you're looking to get a center back that's on a cheap, not anything too expensive. I think he'd be a solid pickup for us in the summer. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on him, but I figured I'd cover him because he popped on the news during the weekend.
He's your boy. I don't know enough. I mean, let's be honest. Can we even watch Russian footy?
No.
So it's all blocked off. Yeah, it's all blocked off. So, I mean, if you did what you need to catch some Lux, sure. But no, I don't think the rest of us Westerners have an idea what's going on because he's locked behind that wall.
He's like, I am uncultured.
There was a comment there about Illing we can bring up.
Yeah, I don't. To be honest with you, I don't even know what happened. The only thing I know, what was reported, was that Illing and Keane are apparently touted to leave.
I mean, there's everything. It's still the international break. It's still dumb. This is just coming off for Discord, so sorry, it's not super big. It's a Fabrizio Romano post, courtesy of Dave, I think. He posted this. But anyways, Sammy could be on the move in the summer.
That was mine.
Yeah, there you go. He gets the credit. Sammy could be on the move in the summer. Clubs in Italy and England are showing serious interest in the winger. Illing out of contract in June 25 and currently not in active talks to sign new deal despite good relationship with Juve. I think he was always going to be one of the first guys out the door.
I think he's one of the first players sold.
Yeah, no, I agree.
He's very marketable. He has a decent value, and I don't think he quite fits the overall long-term project.
I don't think he's, like, for example, if he wants to get consistent minutes, he goes to a mid-table club, right? That's where, if he's going to play consistently, does he pop off? We'll see. I don't know, maybe. But I just right now, like, for example, say that we switch to a 4-3-3. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Either 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. The issue is like, he's not going to displace Chiesa. He's not, right? It's just not possible Chiesa will do whatever it takes to keep like Illing's
and
going to
then
make that.
Felipe Anderson. Like who else is going to be coming in at the same time? There's another name too. I can't.
And right now, right, and the main thing that Juve lack, to the contrary of most folks, is experience. Like Juve's players lack experience.
Well, a lot of the rumors the past day or so have been like 30-year-old dudes. So
we need it. Like unfortunately, we need it. We need veteran 30-year-olds that know what to do when they're in title contention positions. Because right now, like Chiesa's your most experienced guy, and with all due respect, not a good thing experience wise. Because
to be fair, I think Loca's got the same level.
Roughly, right?
They went through the whole Euro thing together, right? They both kind of popped off at the same time.
Yeah, and that's it, right? You need to have some grizzled guys. Obviously you can tell the midfield needs a more seasoned veteran, a seasoned playmaker, because Loca ain't it. He's not. Rabiot is doing what he can on his side. Same thing with McKennie, but McKennie and Rabiot aren't your creators. They're not supposed to be the creators. They're not supposed to be.
Rabiot was never brought on this team to be the man in the midfield.
No, he wasn't. And he is, right? Because the reason why I'm saying you need some grizzled veterans is our average age is 25 years old. The last time
there's numbers. Actually, that's interesting because there are numbers on that.
I think you shared them, right? The issue with that is, right, and I'm not saying Juve's average age needs to be 33, 34 years old. That's blasphemy, right? Juve's average starting 11 age needs to be around 28, 29 years old. Where you have a bunch of young guys and you have some old guys, you balance it out in the middle. The issue
By the way, there were some stats about that. We are, I believe, the 6th or 7th youngest team in Serie A, but the team we actually put on the field is always the youngest team by average.
And that's not good.
And just for the record as well, this article also came out about like Allegri ruins young talent. So
dude, these news reporters and these pages that just like relate, like essentially they're news, but they just relay news from other news people, so they're like proxy newsers. Like it's just like that's the one thing where I get essentially concerned with, where it's like, dude, these people don't even read what the hell they're retweeting or they're posting, and it makes no logical sense, but they're just retweeting garbage for no damn reason. So I kind of wanted to answer, if we sell all the youth, then what's the point of the project? None. So here's the thing about a youth project for a youth team, Gompachiro, is you get 10 players through your youth system. They are not, all 10 of them are not supposed to be your centerpieces for your team.
No.
2 to 3. If you get 2 to 3 that are starters for your roster, that is a win. The other 7 are supposed to be sold.
We need to liquidate as well. Let's be honest. We need to make those funds up because there are heavy debts that we're trying to actually be fiscally responsible. We do have like actual money people in management right now. This is something the club is doing, is trying to be fiscally responsible. So they don't necessarily have the luxury just to keep a bunch of youth prospects on the bench, nor do youth prospects, knowing that they can take that step, want to stay on the bench. So it's likely going to be a mutual agreement.
And also, it's not just us that tries to sell the. Financially, it makes just the most sense, because you are writing 100% profit off of those players, which allows you in retrospect to invest into lots of other players. That money you get from those buys goes 100% back into your budget. So it actually makes sense. The only guys that you put in your starting 11 or that you call up are the world-class talents, like I believe Yildiz is, like, for example, for Bayern Musialas, or Bellingham was for Dortmund, for those clubs. Those are the players you are supposed to call up. You can't just put every like average or above average young player in your starting 11 and expect them to perform on the highest level.
It's not possible.
Bones says something here as well in response to Vlad. He's saying, sorry, Vlad, I was playing Rocket League. Okay, that doesn't matter. But not sure if you look at the other clubs in the league, they do more and on a lower salary. But you also have to keep into consideration that we're working to get rid of these heavy salaries, because Alexandro is one of those, right? He's tilting the scales, that the chart, right? Like if you look at the bell curve, like Alexandro was on that right side of the bell curve, just like putting all the weight on old dudes that do nothing, that cost a lot. So
and Deschilio as well.
He's
not expensive, but he's an older player, for example. That's also raising your average age, for example.
Yeah. So
in theory, we are way younger even.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say, let's reassess that metric next season when these guys are off the books. I mean, you might get an Arthur back that might screw things up again. Who knows? But I think, and I know I've been saying it for the past couple of years here, like, wait till the season coming up. That's the season where we'll see all these contracts cut off the books, and we'll have a little bit more fluidity with that money, because there's just not those burdenous contracts, or there's going to be less of them in any case.
Well, and for example, say that we switch to a 4-3-3, then that opens the door. Like, for example, when you switch to a 4-3-3, obviously Bremer's staying. You've got.
Is it obvious?
What, the 4-3-3?
No, that Bremer's staying.
Well, that's actually true, right? Because, like, for example, here's the one thing I'm a little bit concerned with. Why is he not playing for Brazil? Like, he is their best natural defender, yet Brazil refused to play that man.
Yeah. Brazil is actually even depending on Lucas Beraldo, or what his name was, that is barely playing minutes with PSG, for example. I don't know, maybe it's just the thought of not trusting him in a four-man backline.
Could be that. It could be.
So that's the question, right? Does Juve cash in and liquidate on him while his stock is high?
Nothing's off the books.
No,
really.
And I think so. And to be honest with you, this summer transfer window, no one should be untouchable.
I mean, people, this is a pretty easy one.
Yes.
Yes, I think mostly because he isn't blue collar enough for what we want to do with this team. It's not really.
He's a luxury piece.
He is becoming more and more of a luxury, and I feel that he might. And this is just personal feeling. I can't like back this up in any way other than maybe if you want to look at Locatelli yelling at Chiesa that last match. But I think there might be some toxicity coming.
Well, again, this is from a news Twitter page that's relaying it from Romeo Agresti. Apparently, Chiesa's looking at a bridge contract until 2026, dependent on who the coach is, because there isn't an issue with the relationship. Just wants tactical dysfunction or whatnot, tactically dysfunctional, where it's like, who the fuck do you think you are? What have you accomplished for you to sit there and say, oh, I have a tactical requirement for me to play for your team or to sign a contract? Like, I'm sorry, unless you're Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi in their prime banging in 60 goals a season, who the fuck are you to sit there and say, oh, I won't sign a renewal unless I know that this is the formation that we're going to play?
I'm glad you brought up Ronaldo, because that was one of those things that was just like stewing in me, right? Because we spent so much time, the community, and this is why I'm kind of upset with a portion of the community right now, right? Because we can be so together at times, but then I'm just going to blame a lot of the media, content creators, whatever, the people that's shoving a lot of this stuff out that are creating these populist ideas. It feels so much like politics right now, honestly, but it's driving me nuts. Saying I'm getting so mad, I'm forgetting my stupid point. But who the fuck was I talking about? Ronaldo, yes, thank you. So we put everything through him. That, I mean, financially, that's where the project was going. That's in history now. But us as a community kind of came to an agreement that yes, Ronaldo was great, but having everything just rely on one individual, it becomes too predictable. It's not Juventus. It's not our identity. And now I feel Chiesa is kind of demanding the same thing, but Chiesa isn't fucking Ronaldo.
He hasn't done shit.
and just it stops at that. He's just Ronaldo is number 1, number 2 of the generation. Whatever, fight Messi fans. I don't care who's 1 or 2. But at the end of the day, I mean, are we honestly comparing him to the level of Ronaldo? Because if we are,
that's sad. That's sad.
Yeah, man.
I'm sorry.
Like, we got to move on from that.
Because there's only 2 players, I think maybe 2 players, arguably a third, that can have an argument of, like, for example, where I need to, like, for example, this needs to work for me to be successful. Jude Bellingham, Kylian Mbappe, and then Erling Haaland as your third. Those are the 3 players currently in world football right now that can sit there and dictate terms. I mean, young players. I'm not talking about the Krooses, the Modric, and those guys.
Honestly, I would even take Haaland out of that equation. Dude, Pep Guardiola is the man there. If Haaland demands anything or says anything, they will ship Haaland out in a second, even though he's maybe the best striker in the world right now. Manchester City is so focused and built around Guardiola and his needs and what he wants from his squad. Like if Haaland would have like Cancelo was the best right back or right wing back in that season, and they shipped him out immediately after he had a disagreement with Pep, and like he's not messing around with that. And honestly, for Chiesa to think of himself in the equation with those kind of players is completely delusional for me.
So the reason why I was thinking like Haaland is like a maybe on the third is like if Haaland left Manchester City and went somewhere else, I think he could have some pull. Obviously, like for example, you're never going to outpull Guardiola. You're not. It's not physically possible. But like for example, say that Haaland went to like Manchester United. Like who would be valued more, Ten Hag or Haaland? I think like the board would look at Haaland.
Ten Hag would be there. Yeah, you're right. But Manchester United is also a dysfunctional team. Like if you're an actual functional team, you wouldn't make a player so powerful that he dictates
exactly
all the terms. PSG did the same with Mbappe, and look where it led them. Like they're losing him on a free deal now, and they gave the world and everything to him. And they prolonged just the process. They gave him a year extension all the time, and now he's gone. And the president, it's completely his fault that he didn't sell him before or made a deal with him on a longer term basis. So, and now he's the one crying and trying to meet with Emmanuel Macron to keep at Paris.
Yeah, and that's just a mess, right? I'm curious to see how Mbappe acts when he goes under Fiorentino, because Fiorentino ain't gonna take that shit. Like there's no way
he won't take that shit. And Real Madrid is literally maybe the only club in world football that is, no matter which player you put there, dude, Cristiano left, and they're still in Champions League finals, semi-finals, and winning like everything. They're maybe. Yeah, Real Madrid, Barcelona was back then, Juventus is and was, and we hope to get there, and Bayern Munich. Those are the only clubs that you would think are actually bigger than the player. So where the team dictates the terms.
Yeah, and the only reason why Barcelona went into a tailspin was because Messi became that player that was more valuable in the club, and look how that worked for Barcelona. I kind of want to go back to that comment that Vlad left about did we ever say that Danilo can't?
Yeah, we always thought Danilo. I don't know. Maybe
I think the argument was that he can't do everything by himself, right?
Yeah,
or
that's what I said.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever said that he can't lead,
and he's no Chiellini.
No, we were. No, it wasn't us. It was a discussion that happened in the chat when we watched the Genoa game together. Some were saying in the chat that they hope that he stopped Vlahovic from talking and screaming at the referee, and we said then we can't expect Danilo to be everywhere on the field. He was screaming at who was it? At at Cambiaso, I believe he was all over the field, getting the guys back on track. Like he can't. He's not a teacher. What is he supposed to do?
Well, I love the one comment Danilo made, and this was Quadrado last season, his last season with us last year, and Quadrado made a stupid foul and got himself sent off, and like they asked Danilo in the post-match presser, and they're like, "So what do you think about Quadrado doing this and this?" And Danilo's response is, "He's a 32-year-old man. He knows what he needs to do."
Speaking of 32-year-old men.
Yeah,
Would
true.
we take
Here's
Pjanic
question for the
back?
panel. Would we take Pjanic back? Could he still Pjanic? Here's the problem. Our bar is so damn low of
We'll
production.
take anybody.
Anyone that can play a decent ball forward is an upgrade.
I mean, he wouldn't be horrible, I don't think. I don't know how great it would be. We would judge him a lot of his previous experience, kind of like we do with Allegri. It's like, oh, well, why isn't he winning now? It's like, look who he has now, you know? But we'll be dumb about that.
So Vlad responds with, I know some people or some fans think Daniel is not worthy of being a Juve leader. You want to know why? It's because he's Brazilian and not Italian. Because they
I've been seeing that a lot too.
I wanted to answer. Yes, exactly. I wanted to answer exactly the same to Vlad. How much of the how much of a big part of the criticism is it that he just isn't Italian?
That's pretty much it. That's like maybe 90. There's sometimes where, and Danilo will make like one mistake out of like 1,000 minutes. He'll make a mistake, right?
He's a constant seven. He's a constant. He doesn't have the high ups or downs. He's always consistent, and that is what you need on his position as a right central defender. Or even if he switches to the left, he's giving you that's solid baseline. He's a constant seven, and that's what you want by your captain. Yes.
Yeah, and that's what it is, right? And Danilo's been around Europe. He's been in the best Real Madrid teams. He's been on the best Manchester City teams. Yeah. You know, he's one of those experienced veterans that can pull things together and bring people in. The issue is he's the only one. Because to me, Tech isn't really much of a leader. I think Tech is more of a troll than a leader, though I love, great. He's a good goalkeeper. I'm not saying that he's bad, but Tech isn't the guy that screams inspiration,
He's not very loud at all. Honestly, remember when like Buffon's last year were like, just play Buffon, he gets the defense put together.
Like Buffon, again, that's the difference between Tech and Buffon, right? Is just the way that they communicate and the way that they handle stuff. It's just miles ahead. And it's like Danilo can only do so much on his own. Where it's like, if I have, if I'm a captain and I have Locatelli telling Chiesa to fuck off in the middle of the game, because it's so much dysfunction, there's so much, you have that in the middle of a game. You have things like that happening. If you had a Mario Mandzukic and Chiesa was acting a fool, Mario Mandzukic goes in the locker room, grabs Chiesa by the throat and tells him to shut the fuck up and do your job.
We need an old-timer Balkan, not one of these new-timer Balkans.
You need experienced players because, for example, when Juve was successful, if Dybala was acting a fool, you had Mandzukic and you had Higuain that were like, dude, get your shit together, right? Same thing with Quadrado too. Those guys, Quadrado to me was never a leader. I think Quadrado was always a jerk-off, essentially.
He was a cool guy to have at the party.
Yeah, that's kind of what Quadrado was. Where it's for example, you had Khedira.
He's the cool uncle that gives alcohol to the teenagers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think so too. And right now, and it's kind of like where Bones is saying, McKennie is kind of the only person outside of Danilo where is that guy because you see McKennie with the United States. McKennie,
I love McKennie. That kid grinds everything.
Though Pulisic is the captain of the United States national team, I think McKennie and Tyler Adams are the behind the scenes guys that keep.
I think Pulisic is just he's the lead guitar.
I think Tyler. Yeah, I think he is again. Yeah, he's the drummer, or the singer per se, and McKennie is the drummer of the band per se.
And the beats nobody likes the drummer though. Come on, let's not give him.
Isn't that kind of like McKennie,
the bassist or something? Yeah, McKennie's the bassist. And he just slaps.
So let's talk about this for the summer wish list, right? Because McKennie's contract negotiations allegedly McKennie wants more money. Okay, he's at what, $2.5 million a season? Is he? Locatelli's making, I believe, 3.5.
I think.
Is it not fair to bump McKennie up to 3.5?
I'm personally okay with that?
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
It's tough though because we don't really know the full financial situation. Like we know that they want to keep most of the players at the same level or a cheaper value. But McKennie is the one standout player this season. And if anybody deserves a raise, it's that man.
It is. And
He
I think my
deserves
only
the raise. What? No, go for
ahead,
it.
go ahead. No. Go for it. Finish your thought.
I think the problem is why the negotiations are halting. We don't know what how our midfield will look like next season. We don't know who of our squad will stay with us right now. We don't know if Rabiot will extend. Pogba will be gone. We will lose a couple of pieces. We don't know what we will do with Miretti, with Fagioli, and who will play, who will we sell, who will be loaned out, and who will we bring in. So we don't know if we extend his contract right now if we have an overload of midfielders and if it's according to the plan. So I think that might be a problem why it's halting a bit.
So I'm going to bring this up in terms of Weston McKennie's salary.
Oh, by the way, IFTV made a podcast. Jorginho's the best deep line playmaker in Italy. Still, yeah, no fucking shit. Who else? There's no one else.
Thanks, low hanging fruit.
Yeah, I was gonna say thanks, Captain fucking Obviouses.
I mean, that's.
Have you seen? We started. We were the first ones talking about Jorginho, and look how it caught fire all of a sudden.
I know.
They only see it when it's in front of them. They have no foresight.
We have been in front of everything for this entire season.
Okay, stop stroking yourself.
I am stroking the shit out of myself.
Just let them piss on their own feet.
I was the first to say sell Chiesa immediately. Dash was the first to jump on the Jorginho train. Hey, we started a couple of the trends.
We did.
Yeah, but you're not going to get any credit for it because you didn't clickbait people. So
I know.
Fuck you guys. You get none of it.
we should have clickbaited.
All right, let's.
Why we have to say Federico Chiesa.
Yeah, you guys do have some good takes. I'm not going to take that away from you, but I mean, IFTV is Jesus. So, Weston McKennie makes 3.2 million euro a year. It's a bit more than that is a little bit more than I thought. What's interesting, if we look back at his time at Leeds, he was making 4.5. So that's probably why. I don't know if that's because of taxes.
I don't know
how that works.
Could be. I don't understand how he got a raise at Leeds as a loan. Unless he had a bonus.
That was part of the deal. Bonus,
that? Oh, that's gross. So like taxed, he's like less.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking is the taxes. Yeah, because he was like making the same. Leeds, he makes more, making the same.
So 2021 was his first season with us. So what is he? What is he at there? So he's
making 3.2. So 1, 2.
So Italy's tax is like 50. So Italy's tax is like I want to say 55%. So you would take that and cut in half. So he's at 1.5 million, and people are bitching about him getting a raise.
Are people bitching, or is it just the club saying?
No, they're saying that right now there's like a little bit of a disconnect between for example, McKennie's wage, like what he wants and what the club's willing to offer. It's all allegedness, man. It's all like these Albanese, these Moric 92s and all these guys. And like, even for example, all due respect to Romeo Agresti, right? But Romeo Agresti has friends of friends inside the club. He is not in there all the time. He can't even comment on all of this.
Okay, just running the numbers. Sorry. If you make above 50,000 euro, your tax bracket is 43%. So, taking those numbers, he pays 1.38 million in taxes per year. So, do the math. 3.2 minus 1.8 is, I suck at math on the fly, especially. So 3.2 minus 1.8, I'm horrible.
Oh, 1.4 million.
1.4. Yeah, he takes on 1.4. Like that. Yeah. Give him a little bit more. Come on, guys, give him something.
To be honest, I don't know, right? I don't know who quoted the McKennie thing. It's just I'm getting really irritated with some of the stuff that's coming out right now because it's just like, essentially they come out and they say the sky is blue, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, holy shit, the sky is blue."
Okay, so you know what?
Allegri out because the sky is blue.
Okay, this is what I'm laughing about right now. Barry, I don't know if it's too soon. So Baltimore, that ship that took out the bridge. Now everyone's freaked out. Everyone that has a harbor in their city with a bridge is like, how about my bridge?
Does my bridge suck?
And then I love it. They bring an engineer onto the news. There's no way that bridge would have stood up to that. No fucking shit. Do you see the size of that ship? Of course the bridge fell apart. You idiots, you're losing your mind. Like, that's what I'm saying. The most simplest shit in the world. He was just like, oh yeah, we got an engineer. This guy knows what he's talking about.
Dude, 90% of engineers don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
It's like a 500,000 ton shipping container boat goes into your bridge. Yeah, it's going to fall. It's going to fucking fall. Yeah,
it is. Good and I have a nice aviation story for a bit later as well. If we
beautiful.
Have the time.
Beautiful.
Look, if it's 1.4, like for example, if he's making 1.4 net, what's the issue with bumping it up to 2, right? Like making it a whole 2 where you lock them up for 2 or 3 years. Like, for example, logistically, I don't see anything wrong with it. I can understand with folks saying, like, look, for example, Ms. Sox says you can't go off of 1 year of good play. Fair argument. Totally a fair argument. Like, for example, he out of his 4 years at Juve, technically 2.5. I would say 3.5 to 2-ish. He played well with Pirlo, right? He had a good season with Pirlo. The first season with Allegri was good, and then he snapped his ankle because he was essentially playing as one of the better midfielders, and then the Villarreal game his Villarreal, and then he rolled his ankle, and then he just wasn't the same after that. And then the season after that, which was the minus 10 points, he took a step back, and then he went to Leeds, stunk it up there, and then he came back and he picked it back up. So, like, for example, I don't think, and the bar was on the ground. That's fair. But Locatelli, I'm just yanking your chain.
We're that bitch at the gym that couldn't re-rack our weights and dropped them.
But it begs the question, though. I think McKennie's been playing decent with the United States, right? I think it's difficult with the salary that you're paying him, and where you have Locatelli that's making $3.5 million, right? It's kind of difficult not to give McKennie a bump unless you sell Locatelli. Because, like, for example, McKennie makes like the least amount of money compared to most players there outside of like your under 18s. Because, like, for example, if I'm McKennie and Federico and Chiesa's making as much as he is, I would feel jaded about that. Like, this is looking at it from McKennie's perspective. Like, I would feel jaded. And I understand Chiesa shouldn't even Chiesa should make a pay cut if he's going to renew, right? But you look at, for example, Dusan, you look at Moise Kean. Moise Kean makes more than McKennie, which, again, like, you're just kind of like, what the hell? and it kind of throws you off there. So for me, like, if you can sign him for a 2 or 3 year contract where he's getting $2 million net, where it's, a slight raise, not an outstanding raise, sure, fine. But at the point now, it's like, how much are you going to get him if you sell him? What, 15, 20 million?
No, I think he put some value on his name this season, yeah. I believe. There are also, again, some Premier League teams watching. And honestly, I completely understand him. Before we got him, he played for Schalke in the Bundesliga, and that in its current state, or in this state it was when he played there, it's a completely dysfunctional team and cheap team.
Bankrupt.
They pay low money. They're on the verge of bankruptcy, like you say. They're fighting right now against relegation in the second Bundesliga. They're on the verge of being relegated to the third Bundesliga, and completely cheap. They were in relegation fights, and he didn't earn any big money. And this would be like the first actual race or the first big contract he's playing for right now. So I'm honestly in complete understanding.
For me, like I understand, like for example, if Juve was a world-class team, McKennie doesn't start. I totally understand that, right? That's not the role. I think McKennie again is your Swiss Army knife. He is like a Sergio Roberto.
I think also by rewarding somebody like that,
Grinta piece.
Yeah, you by rewarding that Grinta, you're showing to the other guys like you want money, start grinding.
You need to build a locker room culture because we don't have one. There is no,
but that's how you do it. You reward people that exhibit the qualities that you want to have on your team.
Because, like, for example, if we want to look at it, because you have to look at it from a multifaceted perspective, right? Where it's like, I can understand the argument where it's like, okay, yeah, he's not elite. He's not playing at an elite level. Like, Juve's just not playing well. That's why he's shining. Totally fair. But at the same time, you also have to look at it from a locker room perspective, where you need to have certain players with certain tendencies and characteristics in your locker room to make your locker room better. You need a culture, because right now the culture is Chiesa and his tiny balls at this point. Like, that's the locker room culture.
I'm not giving this man a hypothetical raise because of his technical ability. I'm giving this man a hypothetical raise because he exhibits the ethos of this team.
Yes, I think so. And I'm not saying.
By the way, he has the highest assists in our team. He has 7 assists. The next is Kostic with 4 and Vlahovic with 4. So his production is showing it as well. And you don't expect from his position to be the assist leader in that team.
No, he's not supposed to be.
It shouldn't be him. It should be Cambiaso or Kostic in that case, but he's barely playing, and it should be Chiesa, honestly.
Chiesa should have the highest goals and assist contributions for the entire roster. He doesn't.
By the way, Chiesa has 1 assist.
Right, and he's a winger, right, guys? Well, wingers dish out assists. Guy.
1 assist.
But he's not a winger.
He's having an identity.
Sorry, we just keep.
So I kind of want to let me touch on this briefly because I talked about the heat maps and I had a good conversation in one of the comments and on the last video where heat maps don't tell the story. If you look at the eye test and stuff like that. So no, like for example, one statistic or one thing does not tell the whole story. And like for example, my biggest concern when people say the eye test, right? The eye test is the first thing in determining that something is not right. Right? When you use the eye test as your justification for something, you haven't looked at it deep enough.
Could I just state that in the court of law, that an eyewitness account is the least respected form of evidence, and it's right down at the bottom of the list of things accepted?
It is. Because, like, for example, when you're looking at an issue, when you're trying to break down, when you're trying to problem solve something, the eye test is the first thing. Something doesn't look right here. That's the eye test, right? Then you look at it and you're like, okay, let's use Chiesa. Chiesa has one assist the entire season. What's that? Why is that? Let's look at his passing. This is, and then you break it down. You have a portfolio of stuff. And that's where you can kind of break things down and you can form an argument. Of course, it's not law. We get it, Vlad. But
and the art. Hold up. And the art Chiesa's painting is a beautiful picture with complete red dots on the left side of the field.
And Allegri's painting is of brutalism of Soviet Russia.
Because here's one of the things where it kind of gets a little bit in the polar opposites of Motta and Allegri, right? Because, like, for example, I've made this argument where I've said we lead the league in most missed chances, right? And then people are like, well, but the eye test says differently. Well, unfortunately, do you guys know what is considered? Like, for example, I think, and this is where I think a lot of people don't understand what a big chance is, right? So, like, for example, big chance is people think is like a one-on-one where you miss a one-on-one or something like that. That's where a lot of people think
I thought it was that time I was at the bar and I almost had her bagged and then I asked that dumb question.
That is a catastrophic.
Don't never ask a girl how old she is. Doesn't matter if she's hot, just do it.
Never do that. So I believe.
By the way, Dash, if you want to go with some numbers to the big chances missed, Chiesa has 7 goals and Vlahovic has 15 goals, and hold up, they have a combined expected goals of nearly 20. So
Dusan's
they
was
barely,
overperforming.
yeah, Dusan is like holding up the torch for them, and barely they are performing what they should.
Yeah, and here's the thing, right? So like for example, a big chance is constituted as like for example a 50-50 chance. That is considered a big chance because like for example, a header or something like that, or if you miss it, it's a big chance. It's there. There's an opportunity to score. That's why it's called a big chance. So though people might not look like, for example, it doesn't look like it's a big chance, it's actually a pretty crucial chance. Like for example, say that Dusan goes over the center back and goes for a header and he misses the net. That's a big chance because he got a header off or you get a shot off, right?
Yeah, I know. If I almost got a header, that's definitely a big chance missed.
Yeah, it is.
And shot conversions are horrible as well.
So
took you a second.
Because and shout out to those guys. I want to recognize Mark. I thought Mark had a great discussion with me in the comments for that video. Because him and I came into common ground.
Oh yes,
right?
yes.
It was a great discussion. So I tip my cat off to you. A cat or cap? I don't know. I can't talk. But I kind of want to tell folks where it's like when you hear someone say the eye test and the eye test is their only argument, you gotta. It's not something you want to look at. Vlad, we did answer your piano question.
Yeah,
where were you?
We like rabbit holed the hell out of that question.
We had a hell of a discussion for that. This is, you want to know what's on his mind? I got it right here for you.
You just wake up and then your heart is just pumping. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, so those moments are crazy.
That's where he was. He was waiting for Lukaku. That's why Vlad wasn't paying attention. But it's one of those things where you got to look at it from that. But I think when we're looking at it from a wish list, and let's kind of get into the wish list because I keep derailing us, and I'm a terrible co-host here.
The worst.
The worst. I think there's going to be, to be honest with you, let me ask you guys this: Locatelli, keep or sell?
If you get a good price, you can. I think. I'm
going to say this:
for everyone.
Market value for all the players. Market value.
That market value, I think you have to keep them at least for depth.
German Dave.
I wasn't listening because I was looking at horrible stats. If you want them.
I've already
Locatelli. If an offer comes in for Locatelli,
yeah,
buy or sell, or keep or sell. You'd sell, okay.
So. Because with that money you can buy equivalent or way better even
with a higher ceiling. That's what you're saying. Okay,
yeah.
Next player, Chiesa, keep or sell at market value.
Oh, sell.
I'm gonna say sell.
I think we know where we said. Again,
for a bag of chips.
I think if you got like 35, 40 something in there, realistically.
No, you will get even more than that, and I think that's actually a good deal. You will one of the Premier League teams will give you between 40 and 50 at least.
Yeah, Manchester.
So I think honestly, with the form he's at and how horrible he's performing, honestly, whatever we can get above 40 million will be a good deal for us.
Yeah, that would be, especially if it's over 40. It's just like.
Yeah,
go
immediately.
Go. And I'm sorry, like it sucks. I hate that it's come to this, but
next player
just hasn't convinced.
I'm gonna say Sule, market value, keep or sell.
Tricky one. What's market value for him? 30?
30. Let's 30.
I'd say also sell because I think if we put him in our lineup with our expectations, I think he will be an average player or barely above average.
That's my thought. Kulusevski 2.0.
Yeah, I'm not 100% on him. It will depend a lot on the formation as well. If you keep a 3-5-2, I don't know how well it's going to work out.
The problem is with Sule is you would have to run the ball through Sule.
Mm-hmm. And he's not really that man yet at all. So it's hard
to keep him. All right, next player. I'm not gonna even put Kostic on there because I think everybody in consensus will say sell.
If you can
except
sell
Vlad.
him, you sell him.
No,
Yeah.
honestly, for me, not necessarily a sell. It depends. If we stay with the 3-5-2, then I would keep him as the backup on the left because
Yeah,
he will still create chances. And if he comes in, and we have actually some creativity through the midfield, I think he can have a bit of a renaissance on the left side. Like I would keep Kostic, in my opinion.
Especially if Chiesa is not cramping his style.
If Chiesa's not there, you keep. I think.
I like him as a depth player.
Yep.
So that's a bit on the fence. I don't want to see him starting. If it's keep and he's starting next season, then it's sell him. But if it's keep him and he's depth,
not as a starter, but I 100% keep him as like the first rotational piece. Cambiaso's for me the 100% starter. And then, I don't know, maybe we switch Cambiaso to the right side depending on if we get somebody for the left. But Kostic, definitely keep him. We wouldn't even get big money for him. So like he's at the point of his career and at the age where we don't get big value for him. So why don't use him as like a backup left wing back?
Yeah, because he's not going to get you too much money.
But it depends, of course, on the 3-5-2. Like if we switch to a back four, then it doesn't make sense to keep him. Of course, depends on the formation. But if we stick with the 3-man back line, I would keep him definitely.
All right, next player that could potentially move, Szczesny, market value, keep or sell.
Okay, what's his market value?
I don't.
It's not like I know how to spell his name.
For me also depending on what the philosophy is, because sometimes he drives me crazy with how he just kicks the ball forward instead of trying to build up from the back. If we get a coach that is trying to instill the philosophy of playing through the goalkeeper, then we need a different goalkeeper, but otherwise I would keep him.
His market value is at 8 million. It's just, I guess, because of his age. He's 33.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's goalkeepers aren't premiums, to be honest with you.
No, so it's like
Donnarumma was the only anomaly.
Unless you got something lined up for the future and you have the liquid funds to go after it, like I don't know, we can start throwing names. It's not going to be Donnarumma, that's for sure. But now I don't see. I think you're run with Tech as long as he's still being Tech.
Yeah, I don't see a viable option right now as a replacement. Next player.
I would even like to see him if he just he gets old and goes backup style. Like I'm even okay with that. He just stays with the team forever.
So next player that could potentially move, Timmy Weah. Keep or sell?
That's an interesting one.
I'd keep
for me.
Rotational piece.
The same as Kostic, but on the right side for me.
Yeah, similar.
All right. The next player, Hans Cavilla.
Unfortunately, sell.
I would say sell.
I like him, but I don't think he has a future in this midfield, especially if we get other players.
So following up with Hans, Berenachea, keeper sell.
No, I see. You don't care about my opinion. Berenachea sell.
So what do you want with Hans?
I want to get another couple million from another loan deal and see how that goes. I feel like
it's
the question. Just got it.
No, the question for me is who would fit better as like a third or fourth regista role, you know, like who would fit it better, Hans or Berenachea? I think keep one of them or loan one of them and sell the other one.
I would loan Hans for another year because I think that would benefit him. The amount of minutes that he's getting at Roma right now is great, and I know Roma wants to continue.
That's Hoyson.
Sorry?
That's Hoyson. We're talking about Hans.
Oh, Hans. Oh my God. I'm thinking about Hans the whole time.
You like
Okay.
Hans, and you're talking about.
I got the wrong guy in my head right now.
Wrong
I am
H.
sorry.
The wrong
guy. Wrong guy. Jeez,
He's
I
got
feel
the
like
wrong guy in his mouth.
Yes, I do. Jesus Christ. Hans, yes. Okay, sorry. Let me flex back.
The Hulk Hogan piece. I'm the wrong place, the wrong guy. Hold up, let me say it one more time.
The wrong place, the wrong guy, brother.
Oh man, I'm getting boomer alerts.
Boy.
Okay. Hans. Okay, now that I know who the fuck we're talking about, I think he might just need a loan.
Here's a spicy one. Fajoli, keep yourself. I would say keep because you can't get anything out of him.
Yeah.
No, and also I think if he gets if he gets playing time again, I think he can grow again into, like, he was just half a year ago the best young player in Serie A, and he's a Juventus player, and we know they don't want to give us any like awards.
We wouldn't be getting rid of him.
Like he actually performed good for a young player. I'd say keep him and yeah, see what we can get out of him.
They extended his contract, right? They're gonna keep him. We know that. I would like to at least give the kid a chance just to see.
Fair. No, I don't disagree. Illing, keep yourself.
I've always said so.
So.
Yeah, just on the fact that he's not the best fit.
30 million to a stupid Premier League team. All right. I'm not even going to mention
on a 4-3-3. Yeah. No, on a 4-3-3, I think Illing would be like a good backup option. But if we get 30 or 35 million for a backup option, honestly, sell him and get another backup option.
Yeah, I think especially when you're talking about some of these young players that are like decent bench options, but then they can get you 30 to 40 million. It's like 40 mil for a bench option. Is like, yeah, okay, I'll take that, sure.
Yeah,
and I'm not even gonna honorable mention. I'm gonna mention him, but DeCilio. No, there's no way. Like, no, okay. Sorry.
Continue this. I have maple syrup going. I have to at least check every hour. So I'm sorry. I don't want to.
You just want to mess with your.
I can't ruin it. Got to get my maple syrup.
Got to get syrup. Tell me you're Canadian without telling me you're Canadian. All right. So the next player, Milik, keep yourself. I would say you keep Milik because I don't think, as far as economics wise, he's a cheap backup striker. So Vlad saying keep, Oscar saying keep. German. Oh, we lost German Dave. His connection timed out. Oh no, I'm on my own. All right, chat. We'll have some fun here. Okay, chat. Next one is going to be Moise Kean, keep or sell. I think at this point, I would say we would probably drop Kean at this point and just move on from Moise. I think Yildiz is effectively taking over the Yildiz spot, or the Kean spot here. So I think there's no point in having a Solo Dash. Break out the board. I could totally just throw this entire stream into an absolute like catastrophe by just going. I'm having too much fun with these. Everybody's gone. All right. Nicholas Bentner got out of retirement, signed Lord Bentner. See the value for who, Oscar? Who would you like to see the value for? For Kean? I forgot to ask that, to be honest with you. I didn't ask that. Gatti, keep or sell? I don't know. To be honest with you, I'm a little bit perplexed on what to do with Gatti. Because, like, for example, if I could take Gatti and I could take Huijsen and put them together, it'd be like the most well-rounded player ever. like honestly, if you take Gatti and you take Hoist and you put them together, because I think here's the thing, right? If we switch to a 4-3-3, either Gatti or Hoyson gets cut. I don't think you keep both. So yeah, German Dave will be back, and then Canadian Dave will be back after he's done playing with his maple syrup. Jeff says I would sell everyone. Can I look? Can I see if I can pull that up? Can I pull up the squad value? There we go. He's back. Did you make it back? You okay?
I'm back. Yeah.
So we're at we did Milik and we did Keane. We're at Gatti. Would you keep Gatti or would you sell Gatti?
I would keep Gatti. Like he gives us the good. I wouldn't start. He wouldn't be my starter, honestly. Sorry, Frankie. But I think he's actually like a great backup option.
So then let me ask you this, because I was kind of having this thing with the chat where if we switch to a 4-3-3, I think you would have to sell either Keane or not Keane, Hoyson or Gatti. I don't think both of them can stay.
You made Dash go solo for a bit.
Yeah,
it's okay.
You can't let Dash go solo.
That's a hard one, honestly.
He acknowledges me.
Who Gatti? We're on Gatti right now?
Yeah, we're on Gatti.
That's,
keep or sell,
I
Dave.
love Gatti. I keep him.
Okay. What about Hoyson?
I need to see him go. And Hoyson,
No,
who I was originally talking about. I
would keep both. But if you ask me if I have to keep one of them, which is a hard question, I would keep Hoyson because he has the higher upside, and like even the values, it's for me not a question. And like business, what makes more sense from the business side of view.
Long term, Hoyson is gonna be the better option, but I think you can easily get him another year loan at Roma, which is honestly a great loan for the kid. I love it. He's getting the minutes. It's great because we see. I mean, if we watch him actually play, yes, he's great at times. If you watch the highlights, he looks amazing. He's still screwing up. He's still being a young defender, and we want him to be a young defender where he's letting goals in for another team. So I have no problems letting this guy go for another year at Roma, and then we bring him back, hopefully a bit more of a polished gem. What if Hoyson turns into Romero? Then you sell him. I think that's easy. Yeah, and that's the thing. You never know how things pan out longer term with these prospects.
All right. So there's another player I didn't mention, but Thiago Giallo. Keep or sell?
Keep.
You're not gonna sell. I don't know if you can. Well, maybe you.
That's what they said about Zakaria, but they sold him.
Yeah. But it's clear just with the project they want him to get some minutes.
Zakaria was actually not good. That was the problem, and we don't know yet what Giallo is. But if we get him for that price, honestly, what do we have to lose? Play him. Look what he's got. Even if we like, if he turns out trash and we sell him for 5 million, it's still plus Valenza. Like it doesn't make any sense to sell.
Yeah, I mean you gotta let the guy get some minutes. The whole idea was to in hopes to maybe get a play this season, but looking more likely that next season, let's see what you got. So let's wait till next season, and who knows if he's a complete dumpster fire, then move him in January. I don't know, but for now, you can't move him.
All right. So now we've got all that. So I know Oscar asked me to go over some market value numbers. So Dusan 65 million, Bremer 60 million, Rabiot in the third spot at 40 million. Chiesa's gone down. His value's gone down at 40. Locatelli is 33 million. Yildiz is at 30 million. Weston McKennie at 25. Cambiaso at 25. Moise Keane at 18. Gatti at 18. Giallo at 15. Nicola Fagioli at 15. Moretti at 15. Chucky at 15. Timothy Way at 14. Danilo at 12. Illing at 12. So Juve is the definition of everybody being worth 15 million at this point.
Hey, look, Jalo was 15 million, you said?
Yes.
That's
Look,
pretty good.
We bought him for how much? 2.5?
Yes, something around that.
Yeah, because he's coming off contract.
Look, we bought him for 2.5. He has a market value of 15. Like, let him play a couple of games and play him, like, even if he plays so and so, or if he gives us like a solid sevens per match, honestly, like he will immediately be at 20, for example, and you made 17.5 million profit on him. So
yeah, there must be bonuses.
That doesn't make like even if there are like other 2.5 millions of bonuses, it's still like we bought him for 10 million less than what his market value is.
So there must be bonuses involved. You can never tell 100%, but fee at 5.1.
Oh,
but yeah, still valued at 15. That's not bad. I just have to point out transfer market. What are you doing? Comparing Jalo to Perrin?
That's just I think for fan.
Can't do that, stuff. Buddy. You can't, no, not allowed. That's against the rules. You can't do that.
Charlie, I meant to say Charlie. I said Chucky. People are correcting me here. Lenzano's at PSV. Charlie. All right, so we looked at our roster. So let's look at some arrivals. So let's start with one. Xerxes. What's your guys' thoughts? Buy or nah?
He's a Mata player, so
doesn't matter who the coach is.
I mean, that's my caveat. I don't know if I buy into him unless if Mata's coming, I say sure. Like I think we got a winner. Otherwise, I'm not 100% sure.
I don't even say get him if we would get Mata, because like I watched him a couple of years in the Bundesliga, and he's the new like hype player and hype striker in Serie A. But he is very inconsistent. Put him in a Juve jersey, and we will again like cry the same we did about Vlahovic and said, we burnt 40 million.
All right.
Yeah, and that is pretty hefty too. 40. I would still love to see Keane have a good season.
And he had always like immaturity problems. Came late to practice. Even in Genoa, there are problems now. But they don't communicate them because they don't want to hurt the value of him. Like in practice, he mucked up in like practices. Cried about playing time with Bayern, and they like of course he wasn't their striker, but he wasn't. He was complaining that he didn't start ahead of Lewandowski and things like that. In my eyes, he's not mature enough.
Yeah, the release clause, is it 25? What is it at?
30.
No, 30. What wasn't the release clause 40, and for Bayern it's 20?
I have no idea.
Let's see, it's 40.
I think it's at 40, and by Bayern for half the price.
If Bayern gets it for half the price, he's going to Bayern Munich next season.
Yeah, for 20 mil. If I was Bayern, I would be spending the 20 mil to get him back. Yeah.
So if the release clause is 40, not for me, honestly.
Yeah, if that's the case, like for example, Bayern's triggering it. They don't have a striker besides Harry Kane.
I'm assuming Frankie has seen the argument that Xerxes is better than Lewandowski.
All right. So here's another player that we were linked with, Mason Greenwood.
That's like that's red flags, dude, man. Red flags.
No, the problem is, look, if he would be the best young striker in world football right now, I still wouldn't take it. Like, I think he didn't get indicted on his cases, but honestly, it would be just another talking point about us as a club. Look where Juventus is in the court of public opinion, and how would we look if we get a player like him. It doesn't fit the optics. No.
Listen, that news source that's to get people like us talking. That's all that is.
Yeah. No, he didn't get indicted, and I have a law background. And like if you aren't like indicted or judged, then you are innocent in front of the court of law. but there's still the court of public opinion, and that doesn't fit with the club and the philosophy we are at right now. And honestly, no, for me not.
Vlad, you're saying Danny Elvis got released from jail. Do you buy?
That's a troll. That's trolling right there. That's mad trolling.
Yeah, I mean, just Google Mason Greenwood. You can find out for
All right.
yourself the allegedness.
Next player, Ferguson.
Yes.
Sorry, just some of the comments are getting me. Ferguson, I don't mind this guy either. He's one of those. He's sort of flown under the radar, but
Ferguson is a cheaper cope minus. I would take it. I would do it immediately.
Yeah, I do not mind that at all. I would get him.
The question with Ferguson would be, would he only work under Mota? Is he able to go outside and do the same thing that he does?
You're gonna have to say that with everyone that's valued at 25 million, I think.
No, I think he would work also in other systems. He is basically playing the Pellegrini role, and he is also what is it called? Like, you can put him in any lineup which needs like a creative 8 or like a direct 10, and he would work in that lineup, I think.
So Vlad's saying
plug and play. That was the term I searched for. He's plug and play.
Vlad is saying that his friends put a bailout for him for Danny Elvis, so it's actual news.
Yeah, he's terrible for optics. Though I loved him when he was here for that one season, but the guy's terrible in the locker room. That's a good question. SMS. Buy or nah?
How much?
How much is the question?
It really is just the question, because what's the value?
30 million plus or minus. So I would say plus 30 million. Fuck no.
No.
Minus 30 million. Worth a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess in that 30 mil range.
But for me, only if Rabiot doesn't extend, because he would be the replacement of Rabiot. He plays the same role. It depends on if Rabiot would extend or not, and if he doesn't extend, and we can get him for a sub 30 million, then for me, we could have a discussion.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's a discussion though, and that's the thing. It's going to depend a lot on where the club's going.
All right, next player on the wish list, Jorginho.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
I think it's the biggest weakness in our game. Yeah,
it is, and it's not like, for example, we're on some like hype train for fucking Zaniolo or something stupid like that, right? Like the Big move makes sense. Big Z energy, but the move makes sense. Like, it's not like the move doesn't make sense, right? It's Jorginho should be number one on the list.
Yeah, it makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the roundest peg for the roundest hole.
It is. It just nice and smooth. And smooth. No lube.
Vlad asking Lazar Ferguson. We haven't even heard anything about Lazar. I just don't like the vibes I get off the whole.
Let's ask it. Lazar, do we go for it or no? I would say no at this
point. Look, I'm the biggest Lazar fan in here, but if we have to choose between those two, I would say Ferguson. Yeah,
I'm leaning towards Ferguson. I just have a feeling. I don't even have rationale.
No, Ferguson has the more consistent performances here. He's a little bit more creative, a little bit better with the ball at his feet. His dribbles are a bit better. Lazar still loses some balls when he tries to. But Vlad, I know Lazar personally.
All right, Coop Myers.
Not for 60.
Yeah, not for 60.
Depends on the money.
It's too much of a luxury piece, in my opinion. I think he's too expensive for what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Kai Havertz. Are you trolling? He's still trolling? All right. If he doesn't take penalties.
Dude,
Jorginho, absolutely.
Havertz in a 3-5-2 behind your main striker would be a deadly duo, but yeah. Have fun paying 70 million.
Yeah, he's just not worth that, I don't think. Way too expensive.
So that left back Mitaj, I would say purchase because he's probably going to be under 10 million. I think he's a nice left back option you can get on cheap, and you can run him as a rotational piece. But I have Albanian bias, so I'm going to refrain from that. So if anybody in the chat knows about Mitaj and you want to throw your 2 pieces on there, go for it. But I like him. I think he's good for the price and everything. So it is. That's my thoughts on it. Next player that I have. Orsolini from Bologna.
No. Like, he's all right, but I don't think he's a Juve player at the end of the day.
If Chiesa's gone, I say yes.
There's so many other, like, you're probably going to talk about him, but you have like Felipe Anderson's on that list. Who's out? Who else? There's another name I know.
The question for me is, Orsolini is playing more so on the right wing, I believe, instead of on the left wing and inverted. Or am I right there? So
I believe so. Yeah.
So if the question is Felipe Anderson for free basically, or Orsolini, I would go for Felipe Anderson, but otherwise Orsolini. I think it has the higher ceiling, but for free, I would take Anderson over him.
Yeah, it's just there's something, if we're talking about going off eye tests, because I clearly haven't looked up the numbers on this one. There's something about him that is just, doesn't get me excited about anything. He's a decent enough player. He's just not what's going to take us to that next level. Who's next?
I'm looking. Give me.
Yeah, technically, Orsolini was a Juve player. Yeah, I suppose you're right there.
Should we throw Zaniolo on there? Fuck it, why not?
Why?
Zaniolo.
Really? Are we?
There's a comment on there. It's easy. F no.
No.
Dude, we get him, and after the season he changes his mind again and wants to go someplace else. He was crying for the Aston Villa move out of Galatasaray, and now wants back to Serie A. He can't make his mind up, and I don't want somebody like that in my club.
Okay, here's another player, Kefren Thuram.
No, too expensive. He will go to some Premier League club.
Yeah, that's likely the outcome, but yes, otherwise.
We were talking about like 40 million last summer. By now he will be around in the 50 to 60 million range, and that's enough for me.
Okay. Let's talk about it because I know Vlad wants to talk about it. Goodmanson.
He's an exciting name.
Yeah.
What's his? I don't know if I can spell his name proper enough for it to look up. I'm gonna check his value. Goodmund. I can't spell his name. This is way too Icelandic. I'll work on it. I like him.
For me, he creates lots of he creates lots of chances. He's in the top percentage across all the top 5 league in creating chances. He has the ball a lot. His passes are deadly. He can finish. 3 assists, 10 goals. I have the stats in front of me. For me, immediately. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, and the thing is right. So, for example, I saw this post just as I was swiping by, looking through this list. Apparently, Chiesa needs 1 more goal to tie his personal best for Serie A with 8, where Ferguson has already done 10. His first season.
He has already 10 and just 1 assist shy of Chiesa.
Okay, so Goodmanson's valued at 22. So realistically, and he's been shooting up heavy. So you're probably looking at 30, 35, maybe a bit more. It's definitely a risk, I think. Does it translate?
And he has 10 goals out of a 6.3 XG.
He's 26, so he's older than I thought. I thought he was like a younger up-and-comer. So that means he's kind of coming into his prime right now. I don't know. He's a decent depth piece, but is he what will take us to that next step. That I'm not convinced with.
Possibly.
It depends on the formation again. You can pair him, for example, perfectly with as a second striker. Like for me, he can even start in that, and you have him and Yildiz as the second striker rotational and rotation. And I don't know if we keep Vlahovic, or I don't know what the news are about him, but like Vlahovic and Milik as the first two, like this center forward options, and then have Gudmundsson and Yildiz behind him.
And according to transfer market, anyways, he can play left, right wing. So
Yep.
I guess it doesn't necessarily matter, but yeah, typically he plays more centrally. It could work. It definitely could work.
Yep. Every player from Iceland is just a freaking warrior on the field.
And that, again, we always appreciate that for sure.
Yeah.
It's like maybe. I can't give you any more than that. Got anybody else on deck?
Yeah, Thiago Motta.
Oh, okay. Well, my take is you keep Allegri until somebody truly better is out there. And I don't know if Motta is that,
Yeah.
but if I
If
had
Motta
to choose
is the only option, then it's enough for me, because I would rather stay with Max.
Yeah, I'd rather stay with Max, but if we can't have Max, then I'll take Motta.
Okay, so let me change the goalposts here. Max is 100% out. He's retiring.
Sure, yeah, take him.
Okay.
I like it. It's going to be a project, and I understand we're probably not going to be winning right away, and we'll have to be yelling at people on the internet for making trash articles and not doing their homework. But
that's when you're at your best, though.
Sure, let's do it. Fuck
All
it.
right,
I
I fucked up. There's more. Gorsteka.
Goretzka?
No.
Goretzka.
No, not
I would
for
say
me.
pass.
Yeah, he's going to be at a bit of a premium too, I believe. Like, how much is he? Here's another name I'm not going to be able to spell right. Goretz.
I got it here for you. I can just tell you the letters.
Oh, I got it right. I got it right.
Hey, first try.
Yeah. So he's valued at 30 and dropping. Contract till 26, so you're not going to get much of a
used to be
deal.
70. That's how crazy he was.
Yeah, but he did say his time at Bayern is up. So I think there might be an agreement with the club, and you might get him just for market value without any premiums.
So the news around him are that Bayern want to sell him, and he's open to something new as well.
Mm-hmm. I think he prefers
problem
EPL,
is,
but he's
though,
okay.
Yeah, the problem for me is, though, that everybody that is on Bayern's team right now from the German players, like Kimmich, Goretzka, like those guys who are like central midfielders, they're completely shot mentally, and I don't know if they can recover from that, because like, even if they move out of the Bundesliga to a different club, the German media is still trashing them all the time, he wasn't called up to the national team, and the newspapers here are still trashing him and how bad he is that he didn't get the call up for these two Germany games. So I don't know what his mentality is. For 30, he has a good price, but it's for I don't know. He's a very like, yeah. God knows which Goretzka will we get, the pre-depression Goretzka or the current Goretzka.
That's an interesting take, right? Because obviously, you being in Germany, you see that a lot more closely, and you can never really discount that whole mental game, right?
No.
I don't mind Goretzka.
No, honestly, him and Kimmich are in the eyes. The media trashes them all the time. It also didn't help that Tuchel said about them that he doesn't want them in his midfield. Like, he openly said that. and that devastated the players. That had effects on their performance, and you see it also on how far Bayern is away from Leverkusen in the table. So,
yeah, interesting. But otherwise, 30 million for a bit of veterancy like that, that's not horrible.
Yeah. So there's two last ones. Wendell and Calafiori.
I'll admit I don't know much about Wendell. I don't have a hard take on that.
I think he's a left back.
Yeah. I read up on him, but like I haven't. I couldn't say that I know anything about him otherwise. So let's see. How much is he worth? First off, let's bring him up.
is his contract up, or what is the current case with Wendell?
Okay, he goes till 25. So yes, he's going to have a year left. He's now 30. I mean, Porto is a decent team. I love those Portuguese teams. But
no, the guys from the Portuguese teams have Grinta, but it depends on the formation again. He
plays bully ball for Porto, so I mean that tells you about his aggressiveness because Porto plays bully ball.
Yeah, no, bully ball is I like a good bully ball team, and I like it also when the team shithouses the hell out of Premier League team. But I don't know if he would like if we switch to a four-man backline, he will fit perfectly. But even then, we have still Cambiaso for the left, or if we get Calafiori, can he play left back, or is he the left central defender? So yeah, we had lots of names for the same roles, so it's difficult right now.
So
because
just looking at the numbers,
so many options.
Valued at 5 mil, so he's going to be 31. This is obviously for more depth and having just somebody in the locker room that you can rally behind, some veterancy.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know this profile well enough. Is he that guy? Will he bring that? But it's clearly something that's like, okay, he's worth 5 mil. His contract's coming up. We can get maybe a bit of a steal, pay a few million, and we got some depth. We're good to go. I think that's all this is. Next one, Calafiori.
He's a center back.
That
can
play.
He is a central back, but he is very, very, very versatile across like the left side of the defense. That's why I say he would be for me the better option, because you can use him in like multiple positions. And he's young, and he's not that expensive. And yeah.
Gosh, I just saw this meme where it says
also he came from Roma's shithouse schools. So yeah.
I saw this meme. I just saw this joke just now where it said Phil Foden is the English Chiesa.
No. I don't know.
Dude,
like either.
No, I him either. But man, that's a disservice to him.
I know.
Yeah,
that's so
bad.
funny.
But otherwise, Calafiori, man, I don't mind this profile either. To be honest, he's young. He's 21, worth 25 million. Place of birth is Rome, so I don't know if that affects anything there. Who do we move as well? Right, like this might be like Agati leaving. We don't know Jallo. Do we need more depth?
If Calafiori comes in, if Calafiori comes in, that means Huijsen is gone.
And then yes, Huijsen gone. There's
I
all these like
that as well. Right now.
Yeah, I think this is one of those cause and effect things. I think
yes, he's a cause and effect purchase. He's a cause.
That's what I'm trying to say. Cause and effect purchase. There we go. We got the words for it. I don't need to waffle on about my feelings. Yes, he's good.
No, and honestly, teams are lining up for Huijsen. The question is if you want to take the risk and have him next season in your as your starting left center back, or if you cash him on him immediately. Because if you play him, there's always the risk of him not performing to how you want, especially at that age. And then Roma, he's a double-edged sword as well. So I don't know if alone will help the value again or devalue him, and I don't know if we play him will value or devalue him. So
bit of a gamble.
If we sell him, I completely agree with you all. Cauliflower would be the man for me.
Yeah. JC's saying Kadira was getting shit on and he balled out at Juve. So different people. So you never know. Maybe. Mazraoui, that's right. Mazraoui is on that list. I like.
No, but Khedira had a different character though. Khedira was a complete warrior. Even though his athleticism waned away bit by bit, he was a still highly intelligent player. And he basically grew what we see in the NBA with some older age players. They grow the basketball IQ. He grew that too in his later stages.
Let's take some Goretzka. Anyways, from down below in the chat. So yeah, it's a bit mixed. Bit mixed on Goretzka. Yeah. Yes, and you are right. He played Leverkusen. Wendell played at Leverkusen as well.
Yeah.
Wendell pocketed Saka and Foden back-to-back, guys. Yeah. I must have seen him play. I watched that game. I must have seen him play. I just wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I would do Mitaj, but Broja, holy hell, Broja has gone. He's essentially taken a nosedive form-wise. I saw him over the weekend, was terrible.
Ups and downs.
Chelsea loaned him to Fulham, and I believe they have a 30 million buy option. And Chelsea wanted Broja to perform desperately so they can make a little bit of profit because their finances are in shambles. And the dude is this third option, I believe. Jimenez is the first striker, and if he's injured, I forgot the other guy's name, and he's the third option for Fulham.
Yeah, and try explaining that to other Albanians where they're like, man, I wish Broja. I'm like, guys, he's not good. He sucks.
Yeah,
like he's not playing good. Why do you go to Fulham? I don't know.
He had a moment. Wasn't he doing well for a while?
He was doing well, and then he blew his knee out.
That's what it was. That happens, kind of like Chiesa.
Chiesa to me, the interesting thing about it is like people think Chiesa can lead your front line or is your center of your project, but Chiesa's never scored more than 7 goals a season. That's counting Fiorentina.
The problem for me with Chiesa is not his talent or anything. I can forgive like lack of talent, or if you show me heart or anything like on the field, I don't expect you to be the best left winger in the world or anything like that. What for me is a goddamn big problem though. If you want to play starting left winger or whatever position he wants to play for a club of this magnitude, you need to be your football IQ needs to be on point. If you don't have the mentality to play at the club, I don't want you at the club because you will cost the team. If you don't have the technical skills, but you have the IQ or put your heart out on the field every single game, then I can forgive lack of talent. But yeah,
you mean McKennie?
Look, we didn't have any expectations for him. Everybody said sell him, and he proved us wrong. And why do we expect different for Chiesa?
Because he's Italian and white.
Because he's not Brazilian.
And because the fan base is hypocritical.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Man. So we came back around onto Chiesa. So I think that means like
full circle.
We went full circle on her. It was pretty good. We covered quite a few different names. I know this was not the traditional tinfoil hat show. It wasn't tinfoily really quite at all. But I mean, It's the international break. We do what we want.
It's a slow news week. What do you guys want us to do? You guys want us to sit there and just say, all right, in other news, somebody took a shit and set Allegri out in their turd. There's your tinfoil hat.
A bit quieter on the Allegri out this week because there was no game to bench.
There's no game. There's no game.
Yeah. So it was
you want to know? You want to know? You want to know why? To be honest with you, you want to know why is because Chiesa took a dump in the international break, and then Locatelli didn't do anything crazy. So like the Allegri out fans are like, but the Nazionale, they had nothing. They had no ammunition.
Yeah,
that's not happening.
Did they ever? No, not so much. All right, guys. Well, yeah, that was
hell no.
That was
as a last point, Dash. We have to talk about how The Rock killed Cody Rhodes on Monday.
Dude, that was awesome.
It was a 10-minute beatdown. My God.
Guy, if you've ever wanted to see a guy get manhandled, just watch The Rock manhandling Cody Rhodes.
Honestly,
go ahead.
If it would be a champion, the championship match at the main event, it would be a crazy build-up. Yeah, but where the hell is Roman in this?
I don't know.
They killed our boy, and I don't know whether I have to acknowledge him or The Rock.
At this point, yeah. Well, this episode was a taste to see how things are going to be on Netflix. I think it's going to be amazing on Netflix.
Is it a Netflix show now? Jeez.
Well, WWE is going to Netflix because they don't have to worry about censorship and stuff.
Oh, so they're actually doing live stuff on Netflix?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're taking Monday Night Raw and they're moving it to Netflix. Yep. So like, you can do blood, you can swear whatever you want. Like I think that's like, because like for example, CM Punk and the Raw, like CM Punk was talking about eating what on like cable television, and I was just like, whoa.
Dude, that promo was
hilarious.
Genius.
Hilarious.
It was honestly incredible.
The Vince one, he's like, who chose you? Who's the chosen one? He's like trying to bait him to say the guy who must not be named. Yeah. That was incredible.
Hey, he even said, "I dare you," saying his name. So everybody got what he wanted to him to say. But yeah, man.
Yeah, the crowd was incredible. Chicago was great. Sorry guys if this is repetitive, but have you talked about the Illing Jr. news? Yes, that he is out the door allegedly. We did cover that.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, personally, because like for example, England's under-21 coach played him as a left back, so like I don't know. To me, Illing is you cash out when you can.
Yeah, I think he's not gonna pop off as much as we expect him to. There's definitely that like we like young dudes, and we're just gonna cheerlead for reasons because we want them to be successful. But sell them before it's too late.
And also just 13 days to WrestleMania, guys. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We're gonna do a watch party in the Discord if you guys are fans of wrestling, so we'll be in there. 95% of the news is fake for the whole season. And then Vinny, Mbappe, Endrick, and Rodrigo will all have to leave in 2 years. One of them, I still don't think Juve can afford any of them. And Real Madrid will do some black magic.
Rodrigo's Liverpool are interested in him because Al Ittihad want to pay still 150 or 200 million for Mo Salah, and Rodrigo would be the replacement for him. So some clubs are already on Rodrigo.
Yeah, so I could see him going there. All right, gentlemen, shall we close this? Because I've got nothing. Do you have anything?
Oh, we're talked out. I gotta say though, thank you. I was having a shitty day. I feel a little bit better. Yelled at a couple things. This is good. Got to do it more often. You know what I'm saying? All right. On that note, then, Dash, you can certainly take this one away.
Oh, I was going to say there's a delayed music. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to our little Wednesday fun show. It's not tinfoily. It's more summer bod ready. But anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in. Obviously, you're going to see the lads for, I believe it is, we have a game Saturday.
We do.
We do have a game Saturday. We'll pregame Friday. We'll do the watch along on Saturday. We're not really sure. We might just do a post call-in show because it is Easter on Sunday, so some folks' holidays and whatnot. So we'll figure that out, and we'll relay that to you guys, and then we'll get back to what we've got for the tinfoil hat, and then some WrestleMania, some wrestling fans. If you want to hop on Discord, you can hop on Discord. We can do some wrestling stuff. On that note, guys, we will see you Friday.
Have a great evening, and this weekend is gonna be fun-filled, action-packed, all that jazz. Come at us. We'll be here delivering the goods. Thanks again, and have a great night.